channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play Daggerheart.
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 Uh, Sharp-eyed viewers will spot that I'm in a different spot on the stream layout right now, and Nobilis, I'm pointing in the wrong direction, is over there in the GM box. And that's because tonight we're taking a break from our Daggerheart Beast Feast campaign to play test a new campaign frame called Celestial Bodies. And so, Nobilis, tell us about Celestial Bodies.
Well, celestial bodies is let me read the pitch. I'll read the pitch. The gods are dead, and titanic divine corpses without number are scattered across an endless void known as the empty. Very nearly everyone in the universe lives and works on one of these corpses. These bodies, known as shells, are cultivated for food, mined for minerals, and tapped for magic. In the Celestial Bodies campaign, you'll play the protectors of a small settlement on the fringes of a coalition of allied shells called the Shrouded Assembly, who find themselves thrust into a desperate struggle against an enemy dedicated to destroying peace, justice, and mercy. In this frame, the moral symbolism of dark and light is flipped. Darkness represents safety, sanity, and community. Light is blindness, chaos, and danger.
I hope everybody got all of that. I was distracted moving everybody around, but it's
Everybody
the
get
new
that?
five-person layout. But yes, very exciting. So tonight we're session zeroing in this
Yep.
exciting setting.
Yes. So before we start getting to characters, I want to flesh out our setting a little bit. So, or at least our starting point, and which is the shell called Hearth. Hearth is a splendor shell. Shells come in different types, which means that it's a farming community with fields and orchards that grow in spite of the lack of sunlight. Um, I would like each of you to add a detail to the shell. This could be an important NPC, an institution, a tradition, an aspect of the shell itself. What shape does it take? How big is it? Um, that kind of thing. Um, and let's figure out what Hearth is like together. Um, would anyone like to have a first go at that?
So when we talk about it being a farming shell, should we
Mhm.
clarify where these farmlands are? Are they on the outer surface or are they underground?
Well, I'm since I'm I that's a good question. I'm imagining it being on the outer surface just
Hmm.
because that's the easiest surface to get a hold of. If you want
Sure.
an
Yeah.
interior surface, you have to go digging.
Hmm.
Um, but it could be underground. Um,
Well, I'm not proposing that there's a better answer one way or the other, as much as I just,
yeah.
especially since some of the other things that we've talked about in terms of dark is safety, light is scary, sort
Hmm.
of
Hmm. I
dynamic.
mean, people might
Yeah.
people might live in holes in the ground,
Hmm.
but to have just a big space to put an orchard or a field or a pasture, you're going to want
I have a I
space.
have a thought.
Okay.
A natural cavity where a particular fruit grows really well. It
Okay.
doesn't quite grow as well anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure what causes it to grow so well in that cavity, but it's a just
Okay. Okay. Natural cavity. Most bodies do not have large natural cavities in them.
Hmm.
Um, so is that cavity because the shape of the shell? I mean, most shells are gigantic humanoids, but they come in all different kinds of shapes.
And
Is
in
it is it
positions
something
too,
else?
right?
And
Like,
positions, yeah. So it might be like curled up in a ball, and that has a gap inside where it's all curled up, and that's
I
where it
think
grows.
I think something caused like kind of like um like there as how things will rot and kind of blow up a blow up a bubble kind of thing in a dead body. So
Okay.
so it's like
Okay.
just a random pocket of that happened to occur.
Okay.
Which would
Um,
mean that the whatever kind of um, fluid or decomposition that created that cavity is what is giving that particular fruit its nutrients.
might be.
Um,
I should point out that on most shells, there are exceptions, but hearth shells are not one of them. Um, Shell flesh, the flesh is has the consistency of hard stone.
mhm.
So, when you're not walking around on one of these corpses, you're not walking around on bouncy flesh. You're walking around on hard
Yeah,
stone.
this is
Yeah.
not a rotting, decaying human corpse in a normal environment. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but but that's not to say that you couldn't have like a certainly a like a damaged area
Yeah.
or a place that
Yeah.
had been hollowed out, or um, you could also, for example, if you just imagine that it was like if you have your arms folded like you're holding stuff in carrying it in your
Mm-hmm.
arms,
Yeah.
right? Like if the body is in that position, it could sort of naturally make a little sheltered area.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other piece we might talk about too, especially if we're growing things on the outside, is to realize that where they're getting their nutrient and energy from is the magic of the flesh, and not there's not a sun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we prefer darkness and shadow to light. Light is dangerous. Light it could kill us.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
What about if the shell is kind of curled up into almost a fetal position? So you
Uh-huh.
have these, so you have the arms that are kind of crossed over that can make
Mm-hmm.
like a little bridge section. And then you've got the body just kind of arched in that can make those kinds of places.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what it's shaped like. And then you have, of course, the expanse of the back, the legs that can go out, however much of the legs there are. And, so most of it, can be there, but because it's kind of curled up, you can have those little pockets of space that are extra protected.
Right. Okay, I love it. Um, another thing about shells is that they produce their own gravity. You can walk around on them like normal, but that gravity has a directionality to it. So they're like islands that have a top and an underside.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what part of this curled up figure is the part you can walk around on top? Is it the head? Is it the back? Is it the arms because it's got its limbs up? Um, is it the soles of its feet? Um,
Oh God, I'm thinking of like the integral trees and living in low gravity. All of a sudden,
mhm.
the back would give us the most surface area to
Okay.
work with.
Yeah.
The back
The other Yeah, sorry, go
and the
ahead.
top of the head,
Yeah.
bottom of the head. Yeah.
The
Mhm.
so the what the idea I was just having is, because there's this directionality, but that the force of that gravity is still only within a radius of the shell itself. It means that if you were to say fall off the edge, you don't just fly off into space forever. You sort of descend to the end of where the sphere of influence is, and then you join all the other things that have ever fallen off of it. in sort of like a sort of a
Yeah.
garbage dump almost down there,
Yeah.
which means
And in
theoretically you
fact,
could be rescued even if you fell off.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And in fact, that on large shells with lots of people, um, because people just lose things, and things get fall. There is a place underneath the shell called the midden, and it tends to be um, where forgotten things wind up, including people.
But just because so being because falling off the side isn't like just an automatic death sentence, it does mean that it's theoretically reasonable that, for example, if we've got our body with the folded arms but the
Hmm.
back is up, then
Uh-huh.
there's still, that means there's like a little hanging garden sort of thing that you could
Yeah,
have
yeah,
in the
yeah.
folded arms on the underside.
How
Yeah.
I've had an idea of like vines being the way this fruit shows up rather than
Hmm.
trees.
Mhm.
Ooh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that
Millie,
would
have
be
you got
neat.
anything to add?
Um, hmm. Uh, I've been thinking as everyone's talking about well, the concept of the midden is
Mm-hmm.
definitely um caught my attention, and maybe that's like where not just where forgotten things are, but that's also the graveyard, since I was thinking as of Greyborn.
Well, canonically, Greyborn are involved with the internal organs of the shell because that's what they use to process gray water into usable water again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, um,
Or
They do
maybe that,
also deal
that
with the
doesn't
dead, though.
mean,
yeah.
but they also deal with the dead. And it may be that on Hearth, the midden is controlled by the Greyborn community and is considered part of the way they handle the dead. So
Mhm.
maybe the way the ceremony of handling a dead body is, they have a ceremony on the edge of some part um, of the upper surface and then slide it off, and then it's quote unquote gone, and then the Greyborn take care of it out of sight.
Mhm.
So that's the way to kind of incorporate your idea
Mhm.
with what canonically Greyborn do. But
Mhm.
I'm not trying to tell you. I'm asking
No,
you
no,
to.
that sounds good. And that would also kind of maybe highlight a little bit of the mystery for the Greyborn. Like,
Right. They don't tend to be out and about where you can see them a lot.
Mhm.
yeah.
So I was imagining a Greyborn character as well. Just so we could talk about that. I don't want to necessarily take it off the table for you, because
Mhm.
certainly there's no reason we couldn't have more than one character there be both Greyborn. But we would probably
Mm-hmm.
just want to figure that out if that's the
Yeah.
plan.
Something I was thinking also about the midden. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being a place like where maybe not on Hearth, but uh, on some shells there's a more like a you know underbelly kind of things, like maybe the literal underbelly,
Hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
the uh Slyborn
Yeah.
basically would normally hang
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's
Yeah.
not anything I've kind of put into the campaign friend documents, but I think that's a
Oh yeah.
reasonable thing to consider for especially for like a larger one of the shell types is midnight, which are where most people live because midnight shells are better protected against the threat of dire comets.
Hmm.
Dire comets are objects that streak through the empty and bring light and blindness and madness and danger wherever they go.
Hmm.
And so, you have to have some way of handling that. And what most places have are sheltered bunkers where people go when a dire comet is coming by, and then they come out afterwards to clean up whatever monsters have been summoned and get on with their lives.
How often do people get blinded by those dire comets?
As often as people in our world get deafened by tornadoes.
Okay.
It happens. But when a tornado is coming through, most of the time people evacuate or shelter in places where they're not going to actually get struck by it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
There,
I was just saying about a quirk for a backstory character.
So I think that we have, I think part of what the help is there is that the dire comet can usually be seen coming before it would be at a dangerous distance.
And in
And
fact,
so-
there's a group of people whose job it is to keep an eye out for them.
Right. So usually people would have warning. It's not like it comes suddenly. But also, I believe we have a consumable that is the treatment for if someone is blinded
Yeah.
by the dire comet that can be healed with
Yep.
it, right?
Yep.
Is that the
Umbral
umbral
salve, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I think that's enough for now, unless somebody has something they desperately want.
I'm just still
throw
thinking
in.
about the underbelly, the idea, and like imagining it being literally on the underside, and it's like supported by like gantries and catwalks and everything that are like suspended underneath.
Mm-hmm.
You got like a little
Mhm.
upside down community in there. That's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, I like that. Okay, so the next thing on my session 0 question is what other shells are nearby? So from each of you, I would like a name, what kind of shell they are, and what kind of relationship they have with Hearth as far as the people there. Is there a trade relationship? Is there um, some other form of cooperation? Is there rivalry? That kind of thing. So in the player's guide that I gave you, there's a section called Shells and Their Affinities.
Mhm.
And if you look at that, it gives you a list of the types of shells there are and what they're like. And
These are all based on the Daggerheart domains.
right.
Yeah. If you hadn't spotted that, and for those who
Yeah.
might be watching who don't see the player guide that we're looking at, I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and propose that there is a Valor shell, which are the mobile ones. They move around and are often they host chapters of the Knights Tenebris, which is kind of like the people who whose job it is to go out there and protect people from dangers, but also enforce the laws where necessary and that sort of thing.
Right.
And so I think that there's a Valor shell that
Okay.
it doesn't stay put, but it
Right.
has some sort of a path where it comes by in a pretty
Right.
regular schedule.
Okay. What's its name?
Let's see. Vanguardia.
It's a Valor shell that comes by periodically with a chapter house of the Knights Tenebris.
Yeah, and I'd say it comes by regularly enough that people get a little bit. I don't want to say
Nervous when it
complacent.
hasn't been for a while. Oh,
I was going to say like in the sense that it's not like every other day, but it's the sort of
Right.
thing where it's kind of like maybe every few weeks it'll pass by close
Yeah,
enough that
yeah.
there's easy communication and they can help with
Right.
any problem that might have arisen in the meantime. So, but it just
Okay.
means that like if something's going on, well, Vanguardia is going to be by in a couple weeks and we can get them to help with whatever the issue is.
Right. Right. Well, every shell does have a Knight Tenebris who is assigned to like keep an eye on it. It's kind of like the local sheriff.
All right.
But but
Mhm.
but that means that this guy's he's got support
Mhm.
fairly close by on a regular basis. This isn't, he isn't as isolated as some.
Yeah.
What kind of relationship does it have with Hearth? Is it is the leadership of Vanguardia um, uh, kind of patronizing? Is
I
it
I think
cooperative? Is it non-interventionist? It's like we don't get involved unless somebody asks for it.
I think
What's their
Hearth
attitude?
is kind of a breadbasket, and so it's
Mhm.
considered like it's important to protect Hearth. We need to make sure Hearth stays good and stays operational because they feed a lot of other shells.
Mhm.
Um, which is not to say that they view every single request from a Hearth denizen seriously, but it's more kind of
Yeah,
like I think it's maybe like rich is the wrong word, but it's the sort of like, well, we need to keep the Hearth people happy. So there's
right.
a little bit of a like there might be a slight edge of
Well,
condescension to it,
yeah,
but at the same time, they do want to keep us
right.
happy with them.
If not happy, at least safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
like
Okay.
I
Anybody?
I would like
Okay, go
to
ahead, Dove.
propose.
Oh,
Oh,
Mhm.
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. I think you beat me to it. So go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yep.
Okay, I would like to propose a very small Arcana shell. That's
Okay.
like it's like extremely uh like for an Arcana shell, it's extremely strong with magic,
Uh-huh.
and like, there's almost to the point where I only like the most foolhardy of even Arcana users go there.
So
Um,
it's extremely powerful, but also very difficult to control.
yeah, like it has the power of one that is uh you know 100 miles across in like less than a mile.
Okay, give me a name for it.
Uh Tyria.
Kyria.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, what was the
Does
first
anybody
letter?
now? Arcana
Okay.
shells are
I think you didn't get the say spelling again.
Kyria.
Oh, I was saying T.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
That's fine. No,
anyway.
Tyria. Tyria. All right. Does anybody live there? A lot of Arcana shells have a very small population because it's so difficult to control.
Mhm.
And but the resources available there um, are very potent and highly sought after. So
I
um,
think that there's like one uh one mage or one wizard that
okay,
has set up
usually
some sort of shop or sorcerer, yeah, or whatever.
sorcerers or druids are the usual people.
Okay.
So a sorcerer. Um,
Yeah. Just yeah.
and what's this person's attitude towards the folks on Hearth?
If they have something worth trading, then he'll deal with them, but otherwise stay away. You're not worth protecting while you're here if you don't have something for me.
Okay, cool. Paul, you had an idea.
I do. I want to come up with a blade shell. It's full of
Okay.
lots of dwarves and clanks. So they basically mine their body for
Mm-hmm.
material and turn it into weapons and trade with Hearth for food because they don't because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're kind of not they're the
They're
body of their god's not very good for growing crops. So the name of this
right.
mining shell is Durandal because I am predictable that way for references.
Okay. Anything particularly notable about it? Something that kind of makes it unique compared to others? Because so far you just described what every blade shell is like.
Oh, have I? Okay, so let's see if it comes with
I mean, does it have, what kind of shape is it? Is there something else unique about it? Is there something that they're particularly known for?
They're particularly known for, actually, oddly, I'm going to go way off your normal thing. Rather than being hot, it's relatively cold there. They use cold fire weapons and cold based magic as
Okay.
opposed to the general heat of a forge.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
So-
So the environment here is much colder
Than you'd ever expect
than
on
the
any shell, much less a
usual
blade shell.
blade
Yeah.
shell.
I'm just suddenly imagining making things so cold that they're brittle and then chipping them away like making flint
Like-
arrowheads sort of thing.
Yeah.
As
Yeah, yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to the
I was-
idea of
Or
heating
obsidian.
and melting and
Yeah,
forging
yeah,
metal.
yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Okay. I'd like to propose a bone shell,
Okay.
but I will preface this with saying you can say no, that's not realistic, and I can think of something else.
I mean, most of the time I'm going to say, sure, let's figure out how to make it work with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only time I'm going to contradict you if you contradict something that I've got like canonically in the book. Otherwise, I'm looking at
Yeah.
it as something to expand our thoughts. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to say that there is a bone shell right on the edge of this particular area,
Okay.
and that it's
So
populated.
it's the most distant neighbor
Mhm.
of all the ones we're listing. Okay.
Yeah, is the most distant. And the reason that it is the most distant is that it's populated by a group of people who want to try and see if they can use the flexibility of the bone shell to catch a dire comet.
Oh,
To
dear.
see
Oh,
what
dear.
to see what it's actually made of and why it's so dangerous.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is this its own community, or are they like sponsored by a university or something?
I'm open to
Okay.
whatever you want to do with it.
This
I was
sounds
thinking that it was just going to be, these are the crackpots who are like, okay, I've had enough. These dire comets, they've got to stop. We've got to figure out where they're coming from, why they're
And
so
if we can
dangerous.
catch one, we can
Yeah.
learn about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, see, there's already a project underway to try to learn how to direct them, how to move them so that they don't come by
Mhm.
a shell. Kind of like, and it's considered the same kind of thing as like hurricane steering in our world. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, someday it might be good to do that, but come on, that's kind of ludicrous. This
Yeah.
actually it might be a group of people who said steering them, okay, fine, but we have to learn about them first. Let's try and catch one. So I like that idea a lot. And I would like to say, I want you to give it a name, but I would like to add that they are sponsored by the University at Corona Veritax.
Okay. Mhm.
So all I need is a name for this place.
Yeah, and that's always the hard part.
And maybe personally.
Let's call it the mitt.
Okay.
Catcher's
Let's
mitt.
call it
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a catcher's
Yeah.
mitt. And I'm thinking that the expanse, the shape of it, it's like the chest area and then one arm that's kind of reaching out. They've positioned the one arm that's reaching out kind of like this.
Right, and they've got all kinds of like chains and cables and things,
Mhm.
and maybe even engines set up to yank on them really hard in order to move it to try to catch a comet coming
Yeah.
by. Okay, I like that a lot. All right. Okay, Millie, your turn.
So I was thinking of a
Oh,
sage.
sorry, Millie. There's one more thing.
Oh.
What is the relationship of the folks at the Mitt with Hearth? Are they like far away? There's like, farmers, who cares? Or, do they like come to Hearth for festivals periodically because it's so boring for all the work on this? Because it's this little tiny research station. So
Yeah,
there's all kinds of possible relationships there.
yeah, I think that that Hearth has in some ways become they come for the festivals, but it's also the, oh my God, I'm so tired, I just need a drink and more normal people. So there's actually a really close relationship between Hearth and the Mitt, where there's pretty much always people coming and going because they can't grow their own food.
Right.
So they're always kind of trading, and okay, I'm trading my skills repairing things and
Right. Right.
supporting the community in order to get supplies to take back to the
Right.
Mitt.
Right. 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 Well, I mean, they also are supported by the university, so they do have a
Yeah,
budget. So
they do have a budget, but that's not going to
yeah.
pay for the alcohol. That's not going to pay for the nibbles.
Okay. All right, Millie, your turn.
All right. So I'm thinking of a sage
Okay.
shell that so in the description in the document it says covered in
Uh-huh.
forests and meadows. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking one that's like marsh and wetlands.
Okay. Okay.
So kind of like much more aquatic
Okay.
as a
Okay.
shell.
Okay. So
Go ahead.
I like that. What shape does it take so that it holds onto its water so well?
Um, well,
It doesn't have
it's
to be humanoid.
yeah, I'm thinking like a kind of almost like a cup, like a large saucer.
How
But
about one of those mushrooms whose heads bend upwards instead of downwards?
yeah, that could work. Yeah. And like and also that mushroom would give like ups and downs within the cup
Mm-hmm.
part itself as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Um and kind of like their specialty is like involving liquids and such. And I have a name, Pixis, Pyxis.
Okay.
It's actually
Uh-huh.
a constellation that used to be part of the one about a previous constellation for Jason and the Argonauts. So
Okay. Okay.
um, and the Argo being a boat.
Right.
um, I think they might actually have the most adversarial relationship. Like
Uh-huh.
there's things that they need from Hearth, and there's things that we probably can use from them, but
Right.
they want to try to prove their independence. Like
Ah,
they know they need our stuff, but they're trying to kind of develop themselves so that they don't need us.
right. Right.
Hmm.
So that was my thought.
Lovely. Okay. Okay. So we've got a few neighboring shells. We've got details of where the hearth's put together. So how many of you have got your basics of your character set up? Are
I
you
do.
all
I
set with
do.
that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm working through it.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So for each of the PCs, I want your name, ancestry, community, and class. And then we'll go on to some more questions after that.
Okay.
Christiana,
All
I'm
right.
sure, I think you're ready, right?
Yes. I've got Gertie,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who is a Greyborn elf witch. Witch is one of the playtest classes on demiplane.com,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
using the dread and sage domains. And so
Okay.
the hedge witch subclass. And so, yeah, that
Okay.
was all the things
Um,
you wanted, right?
Yep. Were you born on Hearth or did you come from somewhere else?
I think I was born on Hearth.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
If you're born on Hearth, what family do you have? Friends, and what's your community like?
I think so. I'm definitely, Greyborn means for those who didn't read the player guide. This is, we kind of touched on this earlier. We
Mhm.
could maybe even read the
The
specific
section.
text.
Yeah, let's read the
Yeah.
section there.
So, being Greyborn means you're from a community that has been built up around the unpleasant but necessary industry of water purification. Greyborn folk also handle the grisly task of disposing of dead bodies. These communities range in size depending on the population of the shell. In most shells, Greyborn are recognized for their labor, even as they are often shunned for their association with sewage and corpses, in spite of careful hygiene in order to stay healthy in their usual environment. And they have as a feature careful hygiene. Your fastidious habits help protect you from all sorts of pathogens. You are immune to any effects due to disease or bad smells and resistant to poison. And part of what I had envisioned in that regard is not that that means that they are clean all the time in the way that others might interpret it. Like, for example, one of the ways that you might protect yourself from more harmful fluids is by coating yourself in a sort of paste of
Grease.
something else protective, right?
Yeah.
And so and I think that, like, even if you have frequently carefully laundered all of your clothes, they might still be stained in a variety of different ways. And so
Right.
that's kind of what I had in mind, is that they are in fact not dirty with anything that's actually harmful or dangerous, but they probably do smell strange and look weird. I'm also imagining that even though she is an elf, that she is very used to crawling through like small little tunnels and ducts and everything, and she's basically allergic to any sort of a normal posture.
Okay.
Yeah, so this I'm
I like
playing
that.
into the sort of the wicked witch trope, but she's just constantly like hunched over and in weird, seemingly non-ergonomic positions, but that's how she likes it.
Okay, so so that actually touches on the next question I was going to ask, which was what aspect of the way you dress, speak, or act is an indicator of your community?
Yeah.
And that's just like that's just right that
So
angle.
I think that she's got a robe that looks like it has gotten filthy and then been carefully cleaned dozens and dozens of times. So
Right.
it does not look nice or new in any regard, but it
Yeah.
does. Yeah, it's not actively dripping with anything gross.
Right,
But then she
right.
wears that over something that's almost kind of like a wetsuit, I think.
Okay. Okay, got it.
And then of course a big pointy hat.
Right. Okay.
As far as family, I think that I was imagining that she doesn't have any family left, but she
Okay.
did
Okay.
have family, and so she's still close with the community. I'm definitely thinking, like, leaning into the whole like witch aspect thing of like she was taught by the people who came before her, and she had a magical aptitude that not all of them have, but she is someone that the community comes to for help with things. Like one of the questions that the class naturally asks was, you once used your power to help someone in a dire situation. Who were they and why did they come to you? And my answer was, a young mother once came to me for help finding her daughter's lost toy, but I intuited that the missing toy was not really the problem, but that she was overwhelmed as a new parent. I helped her to realize she could reach out to her support network instead. Also, that toy was in no condition to be returned to that kid. And so, and the other like magical element, and this is part of the witch class, is that I can commune. And so Nobilis and I spoke already about the idea that she can kind of magically commune in a way with whatever shell she's on, which is not the same thing as it being alive and able to talk in any traditional way, but she can kind of sense like echoes of that, almost like a speak with dead spell, or that like commune with nature sort of deal.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's enough for now. We'll get back to you with some other questions that are going to be about relationships to other characters. Dove, what have you got?
Okay, so I have Gem, a Slyborn Dracona Rogue Syndicate.
Slyborn, Dracona, Rogue. Okay. Were you born on Hearth or elsewhere?
I think elsewhere.
Okay, so what did you leave behind? Where did you come from?
I think it was a midnight shell, smaller one that's kind of you know kind of not necessarily like on the other side of the assembly, but kind of like
A
on
distant, yeah.
a distant edge of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Boy, name.
Let's leave that for now.
Yeah.
What have you grown to love about Hearth?
Honestly, how the fact that the people are a lot more friendly than where she came from. Like the midnight shells are they tend to be friendly,
Urban.
but
Yep.
she was from the midden of
Oh, okay.
that midnight shell, so she
Okay.
yeah.
Think of a name while we're going around. What aspect of the way you dress, speak, or act is an indicator of your community?
She has she wears kind of dark subdued clothing, so
Okay.
she's like
Remember that dark is considered respectable and safe and nice.
well, I think, and
It's not
I
a
think it
threatening
also
color.
well,
And
I'm
also
not saying like
people go, yeah,
it's not meant to be threatening. It's just like she blends in
right.
contrast to her scales, which are like
Shiny.
multicolored,
Okay.
shiny, and
So she
yeah,
wears dark clothes to conceal her shiny scales. How's that?
yes, yeah,
Okay, great, love it.
yeah.
So that's basically kind of like someone who has a lot of really elaborate, intense tattoos, but they cover them up when they go to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Now, why do you always wear long sleeves? That's why. Okay. Paul.
And a name,
Okay.
name for
What's
shell,
Shell?
Rostia, Rostia.
Okay, got it.
Rostio.
Paul, name, community, ancestry, and class.
Okay. Menkare. He's an Orderborn Qatari Seraph. I'm still bouncing back between the two varieties of Seraph. I haven't decided whether I want to have wings or not.
Okay, good enough for now. Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, so he's a local boy from a family of Qatari who live on Hearth, and he was always been big and strong. And now I wanted to talk to you about this because the questions for Seraph and how gods work in your world kind of go at odds. So I want to work through this with you.
All right. So let's work through it.
So it says, which god did you devote yourself to? But all the gods are kind of dead, right?
Yeah. So there are religions in the empty.
Yeah, they have like the Lady of Darkness and a couple other things.
Right. But they form a lot of the same a lot of the same roles that religions do in our world. It's not like powers associated with them. They're much more like communities and
Mm-hmm.
affiliations than they are, you know, mystical. Um, so, what instead I would say is, let's see how we deal with seraphs. Um, this isn't a question that came up, and this is one of the things we're doing this playtest
Well,
for.
so, one of the things that we've talked about, for example, when we were just talking about plants growing on a splendor
Mhm.
shell, that it's not from the sun, it's growing from the energy of the shell. And so maybe a seraph,
Okay.
it has just in some way that most people do not,
Yep.
has absorbed some of the godlike energy from the shell itself.
Yep.
Or just
That
born
makes perfect
attuned to
sense.
it somehow.
Yep. Yep. And since Hearth is a splendor shell, um, you would be able to that could be um, your source.
So that's what so I'm devoting myself to Hearth as the source of my power and what I it protects me and I protect it
Yeah.
or them or however what pronoun you want to put to a shell.
Yeah. We haven't said anything so far about what, aside from posture, what Hearth actually, what form it takes. But we can kind of we can go back and put those details into.
I mean, something that just popped into my mind is maybe like it's sure means that like it's like uh, you know it doesn't really have any visible form outside its head is down and legs are up, and so it's as close to a kind of a ball as possible.
Or it might be genderless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It,
I mean, it really can be anything. I mean, we could
Yeah.
it could just be sort of like like, you know,
And especially since most of a good deal of its surface is covered by fields and orchards and things like
Right.
that,
So-
a lot of those details might not be terribly visible.
yeah.
So
It's like, maybe um, at some point in its ancient history, you would have been able to tell, but now it's lost
Yeah.
to time.
mm-hmm. Okay. So you said you're from an Orderborn community. Is that one of the canonical ones, or are you part of some other community?
Let's see let's look at the canonical ones and
The canonical ones are the watchkeepers, who are
right.
the ones who keep
Timekeepers?
track of the timekeepers, who keep track of the movements of dire comets and also
And this
make sure that the clocks are all synchronized. Um, they also tend to have um, the kind of the mental health of their communities in mind, because they they're a moderating influence. You know, take time for yourself, take time for your community,
Right.
take time for your body. You know,
No, I'm
And the
think,
Knights Tenebrous.
yeah, I'm thinking
then
Knights
that's
Tenebris fits a little better unless they come up with something else. But I'm from the local. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna invest it. I think
well, you
Knights
can be
Tenebris
associated
makes.
with them without actually being a Knight Tenebrous. You could have
Yeah,
basically be a squire.
that makes sense.
Or even just like you grew up in a family associated with them that would just work closely
Right,
with them or
right.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
But you could
Okay.
probably, I mean, we could all. I don't think we really talked about like what are the rules for if a player just wants to say, yes, I am a Knight Tenebrous. Is that just you could just decide to be that, or would we need to put some restriction
I
on
would say
the
that
formal
the
title?
highest rank that I would allow a PC to be to start with would be a squire.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Okay.
have a rank in the hierarchy, but you're at the bottom rank to
I'm
start.
at the bottom. Yeah, a square sounds good. So
Okay.
the couple of the questions: how'd your appearance change after taking your oath? Um, I still haven't decided whether I want to do the wings thing or not, but his fur and hair went from the golden of his parents to deep red, which he doesn't quite sure what that color change means, but that when he when he decided to
Okay.
be, and what strange and unique way do you communicate with your god? Well, I self vocalize to Hearth. Hearth doesn't talk back.
Okay.
You
But
purr. You
Um,
purr at the ground.
I purr at the ground, but the ground does not purr back. But I still haven't decided whether I want wings or not.
What aspect of the
Fascinating.
way you dress, speak, or act is an indicator of your community? I mean,
Um,
you could have an emblem of the Knights Tenebris that you
yeah,
wear.
that's exactly right. My little icon thing has an Ankh because that was available in Hearthforge in not
Hero
Hearthforge,
Forge.
Hero Forge. So it's an Ankh. So there you are.
Okay. Okay.
It carries an
Um,
Ankh.
all right. Lee, your turn.
Okay. I've got
Name
Mola.
Mola. Yep.
Noctimezo. She actually does have a last name. I rarely give my characters last name, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, and she is a loreborn elf sorceress.
All right. Born elsewhere or born on Hearth?
She was born elsewhere.
What kind of place was she born?
I think she was born on one of the shells that the University of Corona
Okay.
Vertex has just completely taken over.
Okay.
And that's it may be just like this shiny little, it looks like a little broken half orb.
Okay.
Like it's like the orb has been shattered, and so you've got little pieces trailing along behind it as it floats, but pretty much the entire thing is a city.
Okay.
God, now you're gonna
Okay. So
make me name
it's
it.
like so it sounds to me like it's a really small midnight shell.
Mm-hmm. It's a very small midnight shell,
Huh.
and
Okay.
So
it's. Mhm.
I just was saying it's like perhaps we came from the same shell.
Mm,
And just an entirely different level of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like so
I,
why
I'm
don't you
willing to go with that.
okay. Okay. All
And I
right.
think backstory wise, I think she is a student of the university,
Okay.
and she is here in this area because the university wants her to work with the sorcerer as part of like a
Okay.
student outreach program. But she's not had much luck in getting in contact with him or
Oh,
getting him.
with the one who's on
Tyria?
Tyria.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Now that we've got a link to that, we need to know what the name of that sorcerer is. Um, you know what? I'm going to take that moment now, and I'm gonna create that name.
Okay.
Fantasy name generators. Here we go.
Yay! I don't have to name them.
Right. Magic usernames. There we go. Um, oh, that's a magic user group name.
Tim, the
Tim,
enchanter.
Tim the sorcerer. No, this is not Monty Python.
Uh,
Okay.
R.I.P.
too
Tim.
late. He's now Timonius.
Timonius, awesome.
PM accepts the challenge.
Just as long as he doesn't walk around singing Hakuna Matata.
Okay. So okay. So what have you grown to love about Hearth?
I think it's the same thing that has been repeated often. It's just that they're a very friendly people, and Mola is a very friendly person. She is, when I entered in her description of her attitude, let me just read that. So her attitude is like, I prefer warm hugs, but I can rain down hell if that's your preference. That is
Okay.
so she is a soft, curvy, buxom person who just loves warm hugs and loves people and just
What aspect of the way you dress, speak, or act is an indicator of your community?
um she does dress in um very soft, very dark clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And she carries a dual staff with a tanzanite with like tanzanite gems, which is a very, very deep blue. And so she tends to have, and part of her being an elf is her magic actually affects her physical appearance. So she has deep blue and now she has deep red in her hair and on her body in the form of dapples and freckles and all in her clothing. So, your character Paul, whose fur turned red when they connected to Hearth,
And gained wings.
her and okay, so now they're winged. Now
Yeah,
they're
yes,
winged lions.
now
Oh
they're
God.
wings.
Winged
Is
cat.
does
Winged
Hearth
Fury.
does Hearth have wings?
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
think
I
they
want to say
have
yes.
to. I
Yes,
think they have
I think
to.
I made
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that is so cool because we were already talking about the back being exposed. And so
Yeah.
are the wings like outstretched, giving just tons and tons
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
and
like
that's why it's a splinter shell because it's just so much space.
yeah, and well, and just it looks majestic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's kind of an interesting duality in having the body be sort of huddled into a fetal position, but the wings outstretched. I think that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Oh.
Mildy, your turn.
All right, so I've got Lisi. Um,
With an L? Lisi?
Gilese.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like the star.
Named after the star. Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Aha.
And there's it's actually the category of star of basically a red dwarf, but I'm not using any of those references here because I have trauma over that show. It took over Blake 7.
Oh, sorry.
It took over Blake 7. That's not allowed. But
A
but
bunch
there
of
is,
smegheads.
yeah, exactly. But there is a Gliese or Gliese or however it's pronounced
I'm pretty sure it's
in
Lisi, but yeah, go ahead.
Gliese. There is one of those stars in the Pixis
Constellation. Okay.
constellation. And I'm
Cool.
thinking that
Mhm.
she's actually from Pixis.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I'm thinking, and what was the term? I back to the other
Okay,
screen.
to go back to
Yeah,
we got the name. I would like the
the rest of
community,
it.
ancestry, and class, please.
Okay, community. Was I had that. Um.
It's listed at the very top of your character sheet. If I
Well, it's I think is it Graveborn?
Well, so if you want it to be Greyborn, it could be Greyborn.
Yeah.
Greyborn is the one that, like, as we talked
Yeah.
about, is like dealing with the bodily fluids and water purification and dealing with the dead and so on.
Yeah. So, Greyborn, Guardian, Tideborn. Yeah, Tidekin.
Tidekin?
Tidekin is
Yeah.
one of the playtest and
Oh.
ancestries on demiplane.com. It's like
Okay.
elementally themed.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically water
Okay.
elemental.
Okay. Are there a lot of Tidekin on Pixis?
That's probably where they are the most common because it does actually have that water aspect to it.
Okay. Cool.
But
All right.
they tend not to go elsewhere, and the fact that I am elsewhere, is unusual.
Okay. What did you leave behind on Pixis?
A broken heart.
Aww.
Ooh. What have you grown to love about Hearth?
The fact that
a new sweetheart?
no, I have not opened myself up to that yet. But I think the acceptance, because like I grew up in a completely different style of society, and even though I am Greyborn, there are differences on different
Right.
shells of each community.
Mhm.
So so being accepted into this Greyborn community is something I didn't expect because of
I imagine
how I grew
Greyborn
up.
I imagine Greyborn on Sage shells are like pretty much completely different. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
maybe there's a lot less sort of purification that needs to be done.
yeah, because it's kind of
sort
something that's handled by the environment.
mhm.
But there probably are rites for the dead that need to be seen after. So okay.
Yeah, so I've had to learn a completely different set of rituals and such compared to what I'm used to, and everyone's been so patient with me.
Well, it might be too that you were maybe a little unprepared for the sort of societal reputation that Greyborn have elsewhere, because they have to do a lot more sort of work with really unpleasant substances and smells and that sort of thing, as compared to something that's maybe a little bit more of a passing water that looks and smells fine through a charcoal filter and now it's fine.
Yeah.
Versus saying, okay, well, first we have to degoopify that slime, and then the slime will become really acidic once you've done that process. So you have to make sure that you're, neutralizing it over here. That's going to give off fumes. So do that in a ventilated area. But then when you have the degoopified liquid, you can pass that through. And just get into all of that sort of thing, as opposed to something that's like important, but maybe more. And this is just ideas, because I don't want to like put this on you, but I was just imagining it maybe being almost more spiritual, because like maybe it's like, so when you think of it being Greyborn from where the Sage Shell, are you thinking like, what is the focus for the Greyborn there? Is it about purifying the water and the solutions, or is it more about the dealing with the dead?
I think it's probably more about dealing with the dead, because the water, I don't think like the water would need as much processing.
Yeah.
So being in a place where it does take a lot more processing, I'm kind of used to things just happening, and now I have to work more.
Yeah. Well, because if you are a guardian now, just because you came from that sort of a community doesn't mean that that's your job today, unless you want it to be, right?
Now, I think I was as a guardian, I was probably more like kind of symbolic because like symbolic more of the watching over the dead and protecting the dead on their transition.
Okay, that's kind of fun. Like, so it's almost more the spiritual element, whereas I think like Gertie in the Greyborn on Splendor is not unaware of the fact that people need to grieve and process the dead and everything. But I think that there's an element where you're dealing with that living person on an emotional level, but the body's just a body. It's going to go into the bin and then it's going to become compost. And that's how we grow all our plants. As opposed to being more like you have to deal with the ritual of it. Maybe I'm kind of just
well, I mean, it gives a good contrast between the two characters' aspects of their community, so I like that a lot.
Yeah,
because I think Gertie is extremely practical about that stuff. It's just like, no, it's just I mean, it's just a body. You have to do the thing with it.
One last
and
question.
I'll be more
more
philosophical about it.
Right. One more question, Millie, before we go into the next phase. What aspect of the way you dress, speak, or act is an indicator of your community?
Well, I think that taking a more philosophical approach is probably where it shows up the most, but I do like the idea of the what I'm wearing looks it clean but worn. So there are stains, but it's like this has been cleansed multiple times, a little bit faded. Like it might have had more color, dark color at some point, but it's now kind of faded a little bit to be a bit more like if it was black, it's now dark gray.
I like this idea that's why they're called Greyborn.
Oh yeah,
it's not because I originally had that be because of the word Greywater.
Right.
The fact that their clothes become somewhat bleached by numerous launderings, so their clothes are more gray and other people's are more dark, and most people's are darker than that. I like that idea.
Well, and it could be multiple elements kind of all reinforcing one another, right? Like, because it could be that is why often there's gray clothing, but then because gray clothing kind of becomes expected, or because it's pointless to buy it some other color if you're just going to lose it. So it's just like, even when you buy it new, you might be buying a gray one, like that sort of thing. And it just all kind of
Yeah. And like I do have in the image the images I'm about to drop in the Discord some blue in it, but like gray and blue, but it's like still all faded.
Sure.
From what it would have been originally.
Right. Got it. Okay. Now we're going on a new phase, going to go back the opposite direction. So we're going to start with you, Millie. We're going snake-wise. What other PC do you feel closest to, and how do you remember meeting them?
Okay.
And if you want their names, we have Gertie, Jem, Menkare, and Mola.
I'm going to say Gertie's probably the first one I met.
Just because of the community in common.
Yeah, the community in common. Like I left to from a broken heart, but I couldn't quite abandon everything.
Right.
So when I came here, I gravitated towards the Greyborn community anyway. So
Yeah.
she's
I have
probably
an
who I met first.
Yeah, I have an idea about that actually, because like as I kind of suggested in the other like answer that I gave, I think Gertie has kind of a tendency to sort of like intuit what someone's really after, no matter what they say they're after. So the idea that as soon as like Gertie spotted, what was your character's name again, Millie?
Um,
Gleasy.
Gleasy.
Easy.
Spotted Lizzie, there was sort of this sense, sensing the broken heart, but rather than going over and saying, let's have girl talk about your broken heart and get you back, it's more kind of like, you look like you need something to do with your hands. Come with me.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. The you need a distraction more than anything. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Lee, Mola, who does Mola feel closest to, and how do you remember meeting them? And the reason I'm asking why you remember is so that you don't necessarily have to step on somebody else. You know, if it's mutual, you may not remember that meeting the same way at all. So you don't have to, you don't have to feel like you have to take anybody else's into account. So, who do you feel like you're closest to?
I want to say I remember meeting Jim first when we were still on our home shell. When
Okay.
Jim was just starting out on their life of whatever the hell they think they're doing.
Mola has opinions.
Uh, she's 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 ready for forgiveness and hugs, but sometimes choices were made.
Did the two of you come to Hearth together?
I don't think so. I think it was a chance re-meeting, but I think what Mola remembers of Jim is how only and I checked with Dev about this where the I remember you speaking about, if this isn't your home shell, then you need something of your home shell to bring with you so that you're comfortable. And so I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking that the tanzanite that's in her, she wears two tanzanite earrings in her ears, and she's got her little chips of tanzanite in her dual staff, that those are actually tiny, tiny shards of the orb that they grew up on. And
Nice.
there's
Okay.
there's a
So
certain
you're touching on something that is part of the setting, which is the bone amulet.
mm-hmm,
Travelers usually carry an amulet with a piece of bone specifically from their home shell,
mm-hmm,
and it produces atmosphere for them wherever they go.
mm-hmm,
And so uh, if is when you're wearing it, you basically are bringing a little piece of Rastia with you. And
mm-hmm,
it's entirely fine with me that instead of bone, because this orb is not actually like a body, it's some other weird thing. It might be made entirely of crystal,
mm-hmm.
and the entire shell counts as shell bone, and so therefore you can use it for your shell bone amulet.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm thinking that part of the acceptance process for getting into the
mhm.
university is actually like using the tiny chips to make her staff, or at least like the
Okay.
the first portion of her staff. And
Okay. I
uh
wouldn't say the whole university, but for the
no,
department you were in.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I will
Yeah,
go with
because
that.
Corona Veritex is a big university, it has lots of different departments doing all
Mhm.
kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Either that or this was just a really, really weird professor.
Yeah. Or are you still considered a student of the university? Do you still have standing with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Mola does. But the reason that she met Jim is because Jim stole her
Mhm.
chips that she was going to
Mhm.
use. And
Ah.
so they had this great big Aladdin style chase down throughout
Oh
the
dear.
university streets. And she doesn't know if Jim remembers, but she had a lot of fun chasing them down and arguing and yelling about like little kids do. You stole my thing. Well, I wanted this thing. And it was just
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
so
Okay.
that's her that's why she kind of said, you, I know you. And Jim found themselves getting a great big hug out of absolutely nowhere. What the hell?
Okay, Paul, tell me about Menkare's which PC you feel closest to, and how do you remember meeting them?
This happened not long after Minkari's transformation. The wings he
Mhm.
understood because Hearth has wings, but
Mhm.
why did his fur had to change? So he went looking for magical advice, and so that's when he first met Gertie. Because
Okay,
Gertie has secret weird magical
right.
abilities, so he figured he would ask Gertie about this and like, well, I understand the wings, but why did my fur change red? My
So
parents are just
what
look
is the problem exactly?
because he loved his golden fur because it was the same as his parents, and now he's got this almost like warrior like aspect. He's still trying to come to terms with this, and so
You know, like red? Red's nice.
it's not gold. If it feels like I've been put into a role I wasn't sure I had entirely agreed to,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess I got it, huh?
Well, gosh, that doesn't happen to anybody else in the world.
This is how this relationship's gonna go. Got it.
Okay,
Brusque
all right.
mentor. Got it.
Dove, your turn. Who does Jem feel closest to, and how did you remember meeting them?
I think I, you know what? I think it was Gertie, and I like Dove was kind of skulking around the midden, seeing if she can make some if there was a community there she could make contact with, and
Right. Expecting
stumbled
Slyborn,
upon
and instead.
Gertie instead. It's like, uh, hi, or no, sorry, hello, who are you?
Who do you think I am?
Uh,
Mhm.
Someone you just come up
someone
and say hello to out of nowhere?
I actually did not realize you were there, so
So you were just
uh,
saying hello to someone else?
because I almost ran into you, and I figured it was more polite to say hello.
Well, you know what? I think it's more polite to buy someone a meal.
You know what? Let's do that.
I like the way you think. Come along.
Yeah,
Okay.
and what uh, Jem's memory of the chase with Mola is not fun at all, but being terrified. Like she was, her job was to get this particular handful of tanzanite for, uh, for her boss, and instead she went up with this chase, being chased by this crazy person who just somehow was uh, able to keep up despite every effort.
Yeah.
Okay. Gertie now.
Mhm.
Who does among the PCs? Who does Gertie feel closest to? You already have some possible
Yeah.
connections to several.
Yeah, I think that Gertie's contrarian instinct here is gonna end up choosing Mola specifically because Mola's the only one who didn't choose Gertie.
Because she hasn't asked anything from her.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's an element there. See, like Gertie's presence, just from a attribute score thing, Gertie's presence is low. She's very blunt. She does not like know how to phrase things delicately. She's not actually very interested in that. Generally speaking, she doesn't like lie because like why bother? That seems like work. That sort of thing. But she's just like she's intuitive, you know, and I think that
Right.
there's an element where I think that there's maybe just a I think with Mola, maybe there's just a degree of it's not just that she's also an elf, although I think that there's maybe just like, oh, you remember me, you remind me of my family a little bit. But I think that there's also just you don't have like an obvious specific problem you're looking to solve right now. You're kind of relaxing. Am I misremembering? Did you have a specific problem you were trying to solve? You're just
No.
here like on like work study basically, right?
Yeah, basically.
So
Yeah.
I think that you likes that you are a student that you want to learn about the world and like about the shells and the the universe and so to speak and
Mhm.
yeah I think likes all that about you and I think just again there's maybe just a degree to which it's like I don't have the same instinct to meddle with you. Everyone else feels like I have, there's a problem that I'm going to have to fix for them, and well, it's just a matter of time. Whereas you seem like you got it figured out. You're on your way.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question for the session 0 stuff. There's a denizen of Hearth named Vratis who left Hearth to study at the University of Corona Veritax last year. What was your relationship with him like? I'm going to say some possibilities, but you can there's all kinds of other possibilities. But I have sweetheart, crush, older brother, cousin, bully, savior, friend, rival, mentor, employer, your family's employee, or any number of other things. I have not got a strong picture of what this is like. You guys are going to help kind of tell me who Fratis is by telling me your relationship with him.
Right. So I mean that would assume that we've all been here long enough to know him before he left a year ago. Is that what you said?
A year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year ago. I'm assuming that you've been here for at least. Well, let's use the right term. A turning ago. A turning is 1,000 8-hour watches, so it's still about a year.
So I think he was Jen's
I'm going to
employer.
edit that so that it says that in the.
What was that, Dove?
I think what was his name?
Vratis.
Vratis. Vratis. Vratis.
Vratis was Jen's employer at one point. Like he had a
okay.
He hired her to find something for him, like, and kind of a no questions asked. This is what I want, or this is what I need, and just get it for me. I won't ask where or how.
I mean, I know you just said no questions asked, but like, what was it though that they wanted you to find?
Let's see. I think it was a uh, it was a ring that was thought to have gone with a body that went over the side,
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
and you know, and
Okay. Okay. It was,
yeah,
it had gone to the midden and hadn't shown up again.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. 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 Um, Christiana, Dove kind of jumped in, but that's fine.
Sorry.
Christiana, what was your relationship with Bratis?
Well, I think playing just off of what Dove just suggested, I think that I, in a very sort of like broad, non-intense way, I think I disapproved of Ratis because I think that they leaving to go to the university was them running away from their real problems, and they refused to listen to me about that. And I think their real problems in this context maybe was like a belief that uh, financial success and material gain was like the path to happiness, and so they're wanting to go to the university was less about like an education and more about like learning to do something that's going to get them more successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Menkare.
Oh, that's
What
that's
was
easy.
Menkare's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my cousin. He's a Qatari just like me.
Okay.
On my
Okay.
mother's side is like um precocious is not the quite word, but definitely grasping for things, which I can understand why he'd go off to university. He's grasping for knowledge and the power that knowledge will give him. So a little too slick that way in Makari's opinion. He should actually do good for the community rather than doing good more for himself. He seems awfully selfish to Mankari's point of view, but he is blood. So what are you gonna do?
Right. Okay. Mola.
Skip me for a minute. I want to take another couple of
Okay.
seconds to think.
All right. Millie, what
Um,
is Gleazy's relationship with Bratis?
I want to say like she finds him confusing.
Okay.
Um, like definitely, I think he might not know him all that well, so that's part of the reason why she's confused.
Okay.
I
So like you arrived shortly before he left and didn't really have much interaction with him.
Right. Didn't have
Okay.
much of a chance to get to know them before they
Okay.
left, so I'm like, so
But
ask, so it like the little interaction I had with them was okay, but and I probably wanted to get to know them more, but then they left.
okay. May I suggest possibly that he seemed a little cold? Because you've mentioned
Okay.
how everybody here is so friendly and accepting,
Right.
but Vratis kind of like was a little bit of an exception that way.
Okay, yeah, that, that can work. Yeah, I can work with that.
Okay. All right. So that is all of my session 0. I'm going to set the scene for
Uh,
the inciting.
Hold on,
Yes. Go
one
ahead.
second.
Oh, no. Yeah. Lee has hers. Yes.
Yeah. Um, he ran off to the university. I want to say that Mola was his mentor
Oh, okay.
and helped him get into the university. It gave him, help. If this
Okay.
is this really what you
So,
want? You wanna
mhm.
you wanna leave home?
Okay.
Okay,
Um,
if this is really what you want, then I'll help you get there.
like you help them go through the bureaucracy,
Mm-hmm.
make a because Corona Veritax is unusual among universities of the assembly in that they are something of an elitist institution. They don't let just anybody study there. And there are regular examinations that if you don't pass, you're no longer allowed to study there. Most universities in the assembly accept anybody who wants to come and study. And that kind of goes against one of the basic fundamental principles of the assembly, which is that knowledge is to be shared. But the university does produce a lot of, learning. It produces a lot of progress, and as a result, people kind of overlook its peccadillos.
Yeah. So I think that Mola, took the time with him to help him study, to give him some names of people who could, possibly sponsor him, to help him build his connections. But I don't think she expects him to make it more than like 1 or 2 years, because if you're cold and you're very, kind of self-focused,
Reserved.
you don't make the kinds of, she doesn't expect him to make the kind of friends that would help him stay.
Right. Yes.
So he may end up at another university, but she wanted to help him at least make the attempt. And then maybe he can learn and better himself that way.
Right. And being in a situation where he needs to make those connections in order to succeed might make him better able to make those connections. Okay.
And also, are connections questions for each character? Are we going to do those?
We can do those. We can do those. These are the I was kind of building my own with yeah. But,
I mean,
yeah, we can do that.
There's also the care about the assembly part where the various tenants,
yeah. Probably need to move that part into the session 0. Yeah, that's up in the player. Okay, so there's a section that's about your relationship with the assembly. The assembly has a lot of kind of things about it that are important. Power is a duty, and all those who wield it must be held accountable. Anybody who actively seeks power is suspect. Knowledge is a gift and should never be withheld. Poverty is an injustice, and resources should be redistributed to eliminate it. No one should go without necessities, even if they don't work for it. Everyone is expected to contribute however they can, and shunned if they do not. Diversity in ancestry, gender, sexuality, and faith is valuable and should be proactively encouraged. Uniformity is weakness and should be discouraged. The Knights Tenebris protect the assembly and enforce its rules, but cannot wield political power. As long as that is the case, their authority should not be questioned. Graveworms perform an important role and should be respected, even above other professions. Exploration is a common good, and expeditions deserve material support. Beings on undiscovered shells should be given aid and invited to join the assembly. The gods are dead, and mining their shells is not desecration. Dire comets are dangerous, but have no will and are not evil. So these are kind of like our basic principles. And what I would like you to do, and I'm not sure if they're in the document that you have or not, because I think we might have written these after we made that version, but it's in the player principles section.
Yeah. So it's in this player guide.
Okay. So look through those, and I would like for each of you to give me your favorite of those and your least favorite.
Yeah. So for your character, which one of those do you think is you think it's so good that the assembly has this as a founding principle, and you believe that that's maybe the most important one? But then there's another one where you could either feel like I'm not sure that's right, or you could even just feel like it's not enough. Like
doesn't
there's
even
a
go
problem
far enough.
with it.
Yeah.
So for example, I think I think Gertie is very big on that number one of
Mm-hmm.
power is a duty, and anyone who actively seeks power is suspect. And maybe that's again a little bit of a part of what thought maybe Vratis was going after the university for the wrong
Mm-hmm.
reasons. But then simultaneously, knowledge is a gift and should never be withheld. I think Gertie thinks there is knowledge that hurts people and that should be withheld.
Okay.
Yeah, not everyone needs to know everything.
Dove, have you got a
Yeah.
top and bottom for that list?
Jim thinks that the positive is none
Mhm.
should go without necessities, even if they don't work for it. Basically, the idea is that people will, like, if people are given room to actually to figure out what they're good at, what they want to do, they'll wind up contributing just because they can. And the
Mm-hmm.
bottom one is the Knights Tenebrous protect the assembly and enforce its rules, but cannot wield political power. As long as that is the case, their authority should not be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
She believes that basically the protecting the assembly and enforcing rules is
Mhm.
political power. So it's
Oh,
like it's not doesn't even like oh it contradicts itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mankare.
Makari is big on number 5. Everyone is expected to contribute however they can and shunned if they do not. This is, he grew up in an order-born household, and that means, yeah, everybody plays their part on this world we live in, and they have to. Because if too many people do not,
Things fall apart.
things fall apart and we all die. He's not so
Yeah.
sure about the gods are dead and mining themselves, not desecration, because he's kind of got his powers from God.
Mm-hmm.
And if you mine the entire body, what would happen to him? So he's not quite so sure number 11 is correct.
I can have just imagine some great conversations between Gertie and Makari,
Mankari.
Makari, on that very basis, because Gertie's coming from the perspective of saying they are dead. I assure you. I see evidence of it every day. Just because you can tell things from them and get things from the remains does not mean that they are not dead and gone. And when they are dead, they're not using it anymore. So that doesn't mean that there's not still power there, but it's power that does not belong to anybody anymore.
Okay. Lee, what's Mola's take on this philosophy?
I think the one that I think that she would be drawn to most is diversity in ancestry, gender, sexuality, and faith is valuable and should be proactively encouraged, and that uniformity is weakness and should be discouraged. I think that she grew up on a very diverse shell, and Hearth is also a very diverse shell. And both shells, for various reasons, thrive in their communities because of that diversity. Everybody brings something different to the table. And so I think the one that she has the most problems with is I'm going to agree about the Knights Tenebrous protect the assembly, and so long as their authority should not be questioned, because I think that the diversity, those are two inherently opposite positions. That you're always going to be in the right, so long as they do what they're enforcing its rules. But if uniformity is weakness, then what's a rule on one place that's good, could be a rule in another place that the knights try to enforce, but actually ends up hurting the community. And so I think that there's also a little bit of that in that whole the juxtaposition between 6 and 7.
Right. Okay. 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 And last one, Millie. Your
Um,
turn.
likewise, I think from I'm going to go with diversity. Um, is valuable in her, like, because she has moved from a different culture, and so she realizes that everyone's experience is going to be different, and um that that's not a bad thing. It's a
Okay.
good thing to have different experiences and different interactions. Um
Okay.
and the one she's the less sure about is Gray. Well, she agrees and disagrees with number 8. The Greyborn perform an important role and should be respected. That, yes, but not necessarily above other professions, because again, everyone's bringing something different to the table and circumstances will change. So maybe what is important right now is not important tomorrow.
All right. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So that is all of my session 0 questions, but you've got some for your individual classes and things. So if there's stuff in there that you want to get into my like PC document, now is the time to work on those.
Do we want to just, I think we all have 3 questions based on the
Yes.
classes. Do we want
Background
to just
and yeah.
Pick one that speaks to you the most and put that one in.
Yeah.
Maybe just in the interest of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Millie,
All right.
oh, Doug, you ready?
Um,
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
ready.
okay.
Mola,
Mhm.
who do you know from my past and how have they influenced your feelings about me?
Well, I'll be honest. I already answered one for you, and this: what did I do? What did I do that makes you cautious around me? And I answered for you. I said, chase them down like a crazy person.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Uh, um, all right. So, who do I know from your past?
I have an idea for an
Sure.
NPC. Um,
Okay.
Someone that she left behind was who she was most sad to say goodbye to. Pinch, a young elven pickpocket who saw Jem as his big sister.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can go with that. Maybe Pinch was like a second cousin twice removed or something. So he's he's younger that he would be younger than Mola. And but Pinch's kind of involvement with that area is kind of how she got to know the underside or the crack. Maybe what they call it in that on that place is the cracked side, because you have the smooth side where the university is, and then the cracked side where the Slyborn lived. So she got through Pinch. She got to and chasing him down for his mother. She got to know him because I'm a crazy person. She got to know a little bit more about the cracked side, and that's why she recognized Jim when they saw each other again.
I suggest round side for
Yeah,
the other side of the
round
orb.
side and cracked side. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm also imagining that crack side being like irregular and jagged is probably a little easier to like build on and into,
Mm-hmm.
and round side being very smooth and having like more of a slope that goes under. There's just the very top of that round side that you can build on and have gravity helping you. So round side probably has a lot more in the way of caves and tunnels in it. Um,
Do we
It's a little
have
bit more
maybe
pockmarked.
terraced slopes?
yeah.
Like those rice
Mhm.
field mountains
Yeah,
in
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Indonesia?
Oh, yeah, or the Inca, yeah.
I've
but
got a
instead
really
of
strong image in my head of what raw steel looks like.
Um, I have one. If
Okay.
Mankare,
Mm-hmm.
I once appeared to you in a dream and shared a vision of the future. What did I tell you?
Ooh.
it's a
You
good one.
you told me I was going to save you from falling off of uh, from out into the void.
So
That
I told you that you would save me. Is that what you're
yes.
saying? Okay.
Yep.
That's crazy. I would never say that, and I would never need saving.
That's the funny thing about dreams.
That's the funny. That's why it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
well now we
I
know
like
why
the
he has
idea that
wings.
you had this incredible, mystical, spiritual feeling, powerful dream of me and of the future, and then you came and told me about it, and I just said, "That's stupid. That's not real."
that's how our relationship works.
Yeah. But of course, above the table, I mean, I'm sure I think that it's going to be real someday.
There's real power between the two of us, like it or not. Besides, it feels like a Chekhov's gun. People falling off the edge of the world. This feels like a Chekhov's gun, and I have wings, so it just feels like
yeah.
it's destined to happen.
Yeah.
Did that dream happen before you got your wings or after?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say before is a weird foreshadowing of what actually happened. Because I must have known of you before I went go carrying off to you after I changed.
I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like a
How-
lot of people know who Gertie is at least.
Yeah.
Like,
Gertie is
I
something
think
of a fixture
Gertie
in the
is a
community.
Yeah, because she's certainly striking when she appears, and she's kind of a busybody. So
Yeah.
like if you're just walking down the street and Gertie's around, you know it.
Anybody else want to contribute anything?
Yeah, I think that mine don't really help all that much. Is the one with Jem helps. It's like what did I do that makes you cautious around me? But the other two questions are why do you trust me so deeply and why do we keep our shared past a secret? And I'm like, no, we didn't build
Yeah.
that way. So
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
didn't
gonna
build that.
skip them.
Yep. Millie, have you done one?
Yep. So for mine, there's a who from your community did you fail to protect and why do you still think of them? So um created a NPC in my head because well,
Mhm.
the broken heart has to come from somewhere.
Right.
So Navis, Navis is my
Mhm.
former lover, and they got injured. Um, like
What
and
are pronouns for novice?
Novice is going to be they them,
Okay.
and also I'm going to be they them.
Okay.
Um, so Novice is my former lover, and we were um sent to collect a body, and there was an accident, and I went for the body we were transporting, thinking that Novice would be fine,
Be fine.
and but they got caught on something and had like seriously got injured and can't swim anymore.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh.
which, like, I was at that point, like, between, all right, I was trying to do my duty. I thought you'd be fine. And so that's
Mhm.
part of the reason why she also ran away. So she thinks about it because it's one, it like her failing them
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
that is also another reason why they're uh, um Delisi is not ready to move on yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do
Okay.
like the background questions that they
Yep.
asked, and that's the first one I'm going to share is just to let you know about Mola, and that's what did you do that made the people in your community wary of you? So it's not just Jem.
Not just yet.
And I said, I'm afraid I accidentally blew up a bakery when someone goosed me. I did say sorry and helped them build it back up. The
But
gooser, oh, they're not doing that anymore.
is that a euphemism?
Wait, my first background question is, what did you get caught doing that got you exiled from your home community? I betrayed the leader of my gang to a rival gang in exchange for my life.
Well, that'll do it.
That'll do
Yeah,
it.
and that rival gang leader of my gang is known as Father. So
Father.
no
Ooh.
actual relation.
Oh boy.
Ah,
Yeah,
no relation, just like father as a, like, the leader of the community
Right. Right.
Father,
Yeah.
title.
Father isn't even Dracona.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
So
have a how did you first
yeah.
discover your affinity for magical craft? And I think it was just growing up in the Greyborn community. She
Mhm.
just always had a knack for just like intuiting things that there's no reason she should be able to know, but it just she was right about like, oh, where does this tunnel go? And it's going to end up over there. Where did this thing that we left? Where is it? It's just knowing where it is and always having that sort of intuition. But also, people who crossed me always seemed to have bad luck, and it happened enough that I had a reputation for it even before I understood I was actually doing it.
Nice.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So let's get to the inciting incident. Um, you are all there. You um the watchtower has announced that there is going to be a dire comment passage within the hour. They ring the alarm, and everyone is to immediately proceed to the nearest shelter. These are specially prepared areas. They are hardened against the attacks of lucent monsters. They are sealed against the intrusion of the light that dire comets shed. Um, and for some reason, the five of you find yourself in the same shelter at the same time. Where is this shelter? Is it in like the main village area of the village? Is it in some outlying region? Is it down in the tunnels of the Greyborn? Um, is it closer to the midden? Um, out in the fields somewhere? Where is this shelter?
I kind of like in a marketplace because
Okay.
everybody need
Mhm.
Okay.
everybody needs
Yeah,
groceries.
everybody needs to buy things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, why is it only just you though? Because was the marketplace empty, or is there another shelter nearby? Then that's where most people wound up. Are you like overflow? Were you late
I
getting
like
in?
I like it. I like the idea of it being a secondary shelter.
Okay. Okay.
And I was definitely late getting in because because Mankari's attitude is like first in, last out. So he'd want to herd the four of these people in before he'd go in himself.
Just as another option, it could be that for some reason it's like late at night or something like that.
Well, keep in mind we don't have a day-night cycle.
I know. Well, I just mean I know even though
But-
there's not like a light day and a dark night, I at the same time I think there's hours probably where more people are active and hours
Right,
where less
right.
people are active, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe this is during the rest watch.
It's during the watch when most people are resting. They're taking shelter in their homes or in places near their homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Perhaps,
guys, were out and about in the public square when everybody else is resting. Think about why you might have been there. But you've gone into the shelter, closed the door, sealed it, and a few minutes later, you hear a thud against the door. Not a knock, but the sound of a body falling against it. And a voice croaks through the speaking tube. There's a tube they got an angle so that light can't pass through, but sound can. And it says, "Please, mercy, please open the door." And the voice is Vratis.
Oh God, that's creepy.
That's
And
interesting.
that's where we'll pick up next time.
Ah!
Yay! That's gonna be
Incident
fun.
incited.
Yeah, we are excited, all right.
All right.
Excited.
So, very exciting to play with all of these characters in this cool setting, and we will find out how that all turns out when we return next time for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.
So many levels. Woohoo!
May the darkness enfold you.
And also with you.